This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Hey everyone, Dave here, December 1773. With me as always is Ryan, and this is episode 42 of the weekly show, all the week's hottest topics with a twist. As always, be sure to subscribe to the channel here, and to like and comment. I don't know why I'm doing these hand gestures. I don't think it's going to hover any. It's going to come in the same place it always comes. But yeah, as we say, subscribing is important, but the comments are more important. And, views. We appreciate all the views and everything that we got. Ryan, I sent Ryan a picture a couple days ago. He was very excited.
1,000 views on a video. 1,000 views on a video. Good job. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you. Even though I mock you openly sometimes. Thank you.
Super tough to do when, quite frankly, they typically don't show our videos to other people. But to beat the algorithm, that's why the comments and the likes are important. With that said, I'm ready to jump right into it. Headlines! Ryan, it's been about, I don't know, has it been like a year since the mostly peaceful protests over the summer? We're getting pretty close to a year, right?
Yeah. We're almost at our Decemberversary, so.
Hundreds report abnormal menstruation after being tear gassed during Portland protests. More than 1,000 people reported lasting health effects after being exposed to tear gas during protests in Portland, Oregon last summer, according to a new study.
Are they trying to sue people?
No, they're just mentioning it. There was a study about it. Simple solution, I didn't get tear gassed last summer. Were you tear gassed at all last summer?
No, maybe this summer, though.
Yeah, well, don't destroy your city. Pretty strange. Pretty strange stuff.
This is good to know if I ever pick up a rap sheet in criminal history, so. Or violent, outbursts in my community, like burning things to the ground.
We would never get away with such a thing. Quite frankly, not to get too off topic, but when you guys did a actual peaceful protest, Albany accused you of tearing their lawn apart. So,
yeah, and the next time we went there, we brought them their own grass seed, bags of grass seed to the governor of New York. Fuck you, Cuomo.
Which is hilarious. But imagine
Could you imagine coming into work the next day? There's bags of grass. Like, who are these assholes? We brought them from New York, the other side of the state, on a bus. Bags, tens of pounds of grass.
You guys stood on a lawn. Could you imagine if you burned down a Starbucks?
What was crazy was they had horses there. They had mounted state police that were just trotting on the same grass we're walking on. That's a 1,000-pound animal.
Come on. Are you insinuating they ruined the lawn?
That wasn't police brutality because it wasn't black grass.
The video you were speaking of that hit 1,000 views was about the Chauvin trial. And so is this next headline.
Ooh, good sight.
Headlines!
Aimless plug.
A Chauvin juror participated in the 2020 March on Washington. Is it grounds for appeal?
Yes! Yes! Did I not talk about this 2 weeks ago? Yes, it is. 1,000 fucking %. Yes. There's no way that it was a non-biased jury trial. There's 100 days of protest. How's that? Yes. Why are we questioning this? Just the fact that they acknowledge it, they understand that there's some validity to this topic. I can't wait for the defense of this. This is such trash, arbitrary shit. Of course, yeah, it is grounds for fucking appeasement, appeal, whatever bullcrap legal term.
This was NBC News, so it's even they're acknowledging like.
Wait a minute, just a mural being sprayed in South Africa of a guy that was killed in America. I don't know, Remember when UK was rioting for Black Lives Matter, and they don't have guns there apparently. I don't know how it works. So ridiculous. One. This is. I also seen that they were arresting that cop that shot that gentleman at Wendy's who was drunk asleep behind the wheel of his car in a drive-thru in Atlanta. Remember, and they burned the Wendy's down. Oh yeah,
Was he the one who his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend or whatever called the cops on him because he was sexually assaulting her? Was that the same one?
No, see, this is the problem with so many saying their names in a row that it's the shit so long. No, it was a different dude.
Was he the violent attacker with the knife?
No, this dude was sleeping drunk in his car at Wendy's, and the officers came and was like, "Yo, dude, what are you doing?" And the dude like blah blah blah, like, "Oh, I'm just doing whatever." And then they talked to him for like a half hour or something. And then the guy ran away. He ended up grabbing the officer's taser, and then they shot and killed him at a Wendy's. And then they burned the Wendy's down right after that. Anyways, they're gonna arrest the cop now. They're gonna arrest him now.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why. I wonder it's because maybe the death of objectivity in the court of law is now out because we're okay. What the trial proved a few weeks ago was that we are okay with mob justice, not legal justice and fair justice. And that's not necessarily to say that we don't have equal justice right now, because I don't believe we necessarily do all the way around. But you don't want mob justice, that's for sure. I guess I'd rather battle a shitty legal system than mob justice any day.
I don't want mob to rule. That's why I'm against democracy.
Hey, when you really need women voting.
I'm just gonna leave that one alone. Headlines. Ryan, you won't believe this one. We talk about expansion of powers, and we also talk about unelected bureaucrats quite frankly in this show, because quite frankly, it's one of my biggest concerns. Federal judge rules national eviction moratorium exceeds the CDC's authority.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
No shit. Exactly.
This is amazing. They print this, and I don't know what's more daunting: the fact that we don't have the common sense to be like, yeah, well, no shit, because the CDC isn't anything. Like they're nothing. They're literally nothing to you. They're just an imaginary group of people that say whatever. They have no power. They have no power, but they have all the power. Anyways, so like, yeah, no shit. The CDC doesn't have grounds over private property rights. That's not their. That's for lawyers to decide. Like I don't know why we're talking about this.
I almost wanted to give credit to the mainstream media for reporting that until I read the article, and they pretty much destroyed the federal judge for his ruling.
No, normally they judge,
and I believe
everything.
I believe they cited somebody from the Biden administration, Brian M. Boynton, acting assistant attorney general. Why are we so obsessed with the assistants and the Biden-Harris administration? We care so much about the assistants, the assistant secretary of health and the assistant attorney general, and quite frankly, the vice president. No. These people are all outshining the people who are actually in charge.
Well, that's their participation trophy, maybe. Maybe that's why they care about everybody getting one, because they want one in government. Like your whole job as a public service is to not get fucking recognition. Like, isn't it for the good of people?
It's public service, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's
right now the
being
public
a police officer. Like how many police officer names do you know?
I know a couple.
Right, and it's probably because you actually know them, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I've known
like you don't know random police officers in DC. Like it wouldn't make sense to know them because they're just public servants. That's what the federal government is supposed to be. I don't know where this like rock star mentality came, where everyone had to know everybody's name. Actually, obviously.
I think that's the problem, David, is like that we don't know our elected officials and that we have rock stars. So because our politicians used to be more like rock stars, and not that people followed everything they said, but they followed them and they knew about these people more so maybe I think that we have now. We've talking about how we have more distractions now than ever. So I think, yeah. But I don't know. What the hell do I know? The world's a different place. But obviously less people voted then. So maybe just in general, those fewer people gave more about who they were voting for. Jeff and I have talked at length, not at length, but about how voting should have resistance. So this is kind of like the idea behind it that, if everybody had a stock in everything, it's kind of like money. Like the more money you have, the less like the more money you print, the less it's valuable. It's kind of like voting. Like if everybody can vote, is it really so important? You know, if everybody can decide on all these other things that affect all these other people, and that's not a discussion we have. We just talk about how everybody should have the right to vote, and we all should. But people didn't care about politics until Trump ran, and now it's just because Biden is president. Those people that hated them, it seems like they've turned the blinders back on because they think things are back to normal, and we're seeing this. And the problem with that is that they're printing money and expansion of government to oblivion. So this judge standing up to the CDC, you know, I wouldn't doubt that they ran him through the mud in the article.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's anti-narrative.
Out of all the media things we talk about, how much we hate the mainstream media for many different reasons. The one thing I hate more than anything is unnamed sources, people familiar with the matter. I saw this. This was actually a sports article, but I think it perfectly perfectly depicts everything wrong with the mainstream media. Headlines. Adam Schefter admits he had no sources on the Aaron Rodgers Green Bay Packers drama story. And the actual sports side of it isn't super relevant, and it turns out it's kind of an accurate story in this case. But the fact that he literally went guns a-blazing with no credible source whatsoever. It's the problem when media doesn't have to name their sources. You can just make up whatever you want. I can make up stories all the time. It'd be the easiest thing in the world.
Especially with sports, because it's easier to have because it's so much more like analytical based, right? That's the whole debate against LeBron and Michael Jordan about who's better, and all this is based on these stats and these crazy numbers and averages, and so like it'd probably be easier to even get. He's probably done this before, quite frankly. Like people have definitely been doing this probably in the sports realm for a while and got away with it because they just, based on X, Y, and Z number, you know what I mean? They had a 60 or 70% chance of even being right to begin with, right? It was just most probable because they know this realm of life more. So yeah, but yeah, what has happened to him? Is he facing backlash? Like, so he was right in a way, or
No.
I know nothing of this.
So the story ended up being somewhat right. I mean,
Aaron Rodgers is staying with the Packers, though, is he not?
well, the Packers said they're not going to trade him, and he said, "I'll just retire."
So one of these.
He'll go do Jeopardy. Yeah,
He'd probably make more at Jeopardy. And he doesn't have to risk.
I highly doubt it.
Well, I guess
he's a very highly paid quarterback.
He doesn't have to maybe get in a car accident like 30 times.
Yeah, it's just the idea that the whole concept of this no source, these unnamed sources, these people familiar with the matter, as you pointed out to me, actually, is something they started switching their terms up a bit.
Ooh, it's like it's important.
Familiar with the matter. Well, name the people who are familiar. Just if they're familiar, name them. We should know them, right? If we're talking about
an age of identity, they want to have no identity.
If we're talking about something important and this person knows about these things that are important, they'll probably be relatively known anyway.
Trust the scientists. We're just not going to name the scientists.
trust scientists. That's another thing they just switched it blindly to trust the science. Because then there's no basis in anything. You're not debating somebody. It's just, it's science. That's why they like the idea of consensus.
Debate 3,000 years of collective science. What was the thing that I pointed to you that they switched their terminology on? What was it?
The people familiar with matter.
Oh, yeah.
Because they used to be big on saying unnamed sources. Or whatever that. I think that was.
Like, they actually said it was a source, like someone to go to get information, and then it was just like people are familiar with it. There's a headline years ago, Alex Jones talked about it, that in the future, robots will basically write news articles.
AI news articles.
Mm-hmm.
So
we should Google that.
They have AI music. Have you seen this?
No.
It's like a robot composing music. It's the weirdest thing ever.
What?
Yeah.
Like out of like all digital.
Yeah. This isn't like a computer learning chess. Mm-hmm. This is a computer creating its own thing.
Don't ever say that ever again. Computers don't create shit, David.
That's what it literally is.
Oh no, David, they don't.
They literally is what it is.
Nope.
I'm just telling you what the computer did.
I don't care. No, the computer's not real, Dave. It can't create. It's not a real thing. It cannot create. It's not a thing. Can't create shit. It's not creation if a robot does it, David. It was made by a person. That was the creation. The thing that it's doing is imitation. A computer cannot create anything. It is an imitation. Don't get it twisted now, people. 2021, when 3031 comes, we're going to be talking about the beautiful fucking movie I just went to. It was all starring robots. This beautiful cinematic creation. Selfies back then, their faces are selfies, so it's just like, you know.
It's all...
Alright, it'd just be mirrors. A selfie would be a bunch of mirrors.
It's all CGI created by robots.
Digital eyeball! I'm serious. Robots don't create shit. They just imitate creation. They can't create anything because they were a creation.
Are we a creation?
Yeah, a biological creation of DNA and stuff, not of parts that were put together with screws and fucking hydraulics and plastic. Dude, I don't care. Listen, Dave. In our life, there may be a time that we are looking at something that looks 100% human, but if you were to cut its head off, it would be filled with metal. And that is a reality. That is something our children may face. And if not our children, maybe someone's grandchild along the way. But what we need to do is realize as people, we're easily deceived as it is. I mean, Instagram models are famous and they put fake shit in their ass and then use filters to make it look perfect, okay? So it's not a stretch of imagination to think that some robot doll out there is going to be, "Hi, welcome to Olive Garden. Your hostess will be right up." And then there's got no legs. It's just attached to a fucking 4 bolts in the floor. I mean, it doesn't create a robot can never create anything. It's an imitation. It's an imitation of life. And I'm a speciesist, and I'm okay with it. I can't wait for this UFO. I'm going to go on record now. I cannot wait for them to come out in this UFO report in June and tell all you fucks. They're not going to use the word alien, Martian, small person, non-human, humanoid. They're not going to use any of that language in that document. I cannot wait for all your faces, hoping for the alien trove of knowledge. And all it was talking about is how much they have sweet shit that blows stuff.
Ryan is far too concerned
Dude, there's no
robots to be concerned about aliens.
Yeah, dude. Thank you, Dave. Thank you. There's no way that they have a big-ass Dorito that could fly over a nuclear reactor in America and we didn't do anything about it. You're wrong. Oh, yeah, we're just sitting here filming. Oh, yeah, look at that. It's just next to a nuclear reactor. Dude, I can't walk into a military base. Are you kidding me?
Well, we sent automated drones to go do it, but they failed.
Yeah, I wonder why. Because the fucking drone that was in the sky above the nuclear military bases had sweeter shit. PS5, bro. They're playing on like PS11.
Let's be clear. PS5 is done. They're not making any more.
Wait, think so?
But you'll never get one.
Yeah, you know what?
It
actually affects my job industry, the manufacturing sector.
We're literally 6 months into it's 6 months after it was released originally. You still can't get one.
Yeah, it's because of microchips in the consoles, also in phones and cars.
They said they're actually going to switch the processing units to try and get some of them out so they can actually start selling some. Yeah,
it's because of the thing in the Suez Canal with that big ship. There was also a fire at one of the microchip plants, and then because of the pandemic as a whole, they're making Ford F-150s right now, and they're just parking them without the components used in cars with the microchips that I'm talking about in particular are for like the clusters for the speedometer, the radio. You know, basically all of your dashboard components are all with these very advanced microchips.
Chevrolet's having an issue too with
they're all having issues.
The Silverado is built with cylinder deactivation that switches from 8 cylinders to 4 cylinders. They rely on a microchip. And because they can't get them, they're just...
Yep. So they're making trucks and then they're parking them outside, literally. Like, I have photos. This is, like I said, it actually affects my industry in particular, where I work in particular. And it's very interesting. Like, how easy... I mean, we were Thanos, man.
I heard a door squeak. I don't know if it was my door or your door.
It was here. This house is haunted. I'm just worried.
Oh, that's fine. We got a little off topic there, but did you see we actually talked about a little while ago how like the press secretaries never seem to last a very long time. Headlines.
It's gonna be my favorite.
Jen Psaki predicts she'll leave the White House press secretary job in about a year.
Oh, that's weird. I wonder if it's because she's able to actually, like, I don't know, not get shaken down by the press. Did you see that bitch had the nerve to say that when Biden gets fucking hit with questions that he is just not going to answer them? You know how they used to be like,
when has he ever been hit with
questions? And then he's like, hey, look, I'm going to do what the fuck I want. You're going to have to deal with it. And then they're like, and then he's fucking biting. He's going back and forth with these reports. Do you remember this? This was just a little time ago. That was every day in America. We covered it on this podcast about it. I think in the short time of this podcast, we went through 2 different press secretaries. 3 we had the dude, the chick, and then McKaylee at the end.
No, the two chicks and the other chick.
Oh yeah, that's right. Anyways, my point is, it's weird how long you can last when you have an easy job and you're not getting shouted down. I haven't seen them bark the president down a single time, and then I see things on like the Blaze TV. Biden gets asked a tough question, and it's obviously apparent that the guy's literally on potato. And I don't know. Did you see the video of him getting off the teleprompter? He's like, "This is a fucking mockery." And I'm glad everything's normal.
I'll say this about Trump, and he wasn't my favorite.
Give it to Kamala. I'm glad that people by default are okay with like the vice president just taking the fuck over. They weren't elected. Joe Biden was elected. That's the guy that ran for president. That's the guy that should be able to run for president. We shouldn't vote on a president because his vice president might be able to fucking take care of him. It's ridiculous. It's not even like the true way power is supposed to work. You can't have 2 presidents. This is crazy. This is crazy. Because let me guess, the patriarchy's evil. We can't have organized power and order to like get shit done. Somebody's always got to be on top. Go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Ryan, we let's be clear. We do have 1 president, and then we have a vice president.
Yeah, they're just the Biden-Harris.
It's the Biden-Harris administration, and technically they were both elected.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't.
Were.
No, they weren't. We didn't.
They were on the same ticket.
President. We didn't pick a
they ran and just like,
yeah, I'm letting her handle the border. Have you gone down there?
I didn't say she was good at it. I'm just saying she was elected.
Meanwhile, fucking, they're sending boats for a pandemic that's not even like a real thing. Apparently, I don't understand. Dude, this whole thing, none of it makes sense. And it's shown people are disinterested. CNN has like ratings have plummeted. Their fucking viewership is decimated.
How do they constantly? How can you plummet from 0? Who watches CNN still? The empty seats at the airport is my only. Nobody watches CNN.
It's amazing you haven't heard the news bitch about losing viewership because of the pandemic. Like, people are more home now than ever, and they just don't give a fuck. It's a problem. This is a problem. This is sickness in America. That's why we film this podcast, quite frankly.
Ryan, I got 2 more. And I'll be honest with you, I saved the last one specifically for you. But actually, this one too. I might not have picked this one, but I know you've been on a Jordan Peterson kick lately, so I figured you'd like this.
Thanks.
Headlines. Jordan Peterson tells Tucker Carlson his life has, quote, not been happy since speaking out. And the context of it is the Canadian, whatever that's even called, gender, whatever bill, where you have to identify people by their chosen whatevers. Z's, theys. You have to
Z's.
Identify
those Z's. That was
by
Chappelle's
Z's for pronouns. But I think it speaks to a bigger issue that Jordan Peterson. I wouldn't even say Jordan Peterson is to the right. I mean, not far right, at least. I mean,
That guy has never talked politics ever. Do you know what he talks about, though? The dangers of following political ideology.
My understanding is he talks a lot about like human psyche and stuff, but not really.
Like the failure of these systems, though. He does reference. The problem is he speaks out directly against the radical left. He does like target them. He was on Ben Shapiro recently and stuff. That was actually part of my Decembertainment sneak peek. Spoilers. No, but like he spoke and he talks about the radical left and ties him to Marxists and why Marxist is dangerous. That's why they target him, because he doesn't target them. He just says, like, look, this extreme ideology in particular, communism, socialism, like all of this, it's dangerous. It can be very dangerous if you're not careful. You need to understand, because once again, I've talked about how he says that most people, almost all people, would be the Nazi camp concentration guard because of human psyche, like just the way the balance of power works, just the way that things get when things get that extreme, all sorts of various other reasons. You know, and this was actually a personal conversation I had with my friends today. I heard from Jordan Peterson that the best way for children to develop empathy is for them to be playing amongst each other uninterrupted and unobserved by adults. And it's basically let kids be kids, right? And it is, now I'm not saying we're promoting bullying or violence or anything, but it kind of like begs up the question of like, how do you know what good is if you've never experienced bad? You know, like how can you really like rate how good something is if you've never had it super bad? So that clicking, man, I hear it's crazy. I told you it's house on. Anyways, I mean, for real, it's a good question. It doesn't surprise me that he's back up in the news. He did re-release a book. He's been on a many podcast tour and stuff, and it doesn't surprise me that they'd attack him.
Yeah, it shouldn't be surprising they attack anyone who doesn't fully agree with them. But this is the last one, and I know you're gonna love this. I'm sure you saw it too. Headlines. Melinda Gates reportedly furious over the relationship between her husband Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein.
So why don't you testify? Why don't you go on record? Why don't you go down to the police station? Why don't you go tell them everything you know? How about you give up all the information? You got nothing to hide, right? You got nothing to hide? You spy on everybody I know and love and fucking steal all their information to sell me fucking Coca-Cola, but you can't even go down to the police station when you're deeply troubled. I'm divorcing them because I was deeply troubled.
Well, she doesn't want to be murdered.
You know the whole fucking, fuck her. You know the whole, she should be fucking murdered. That whole time you knew.
Oh, okay. Whoa. Whoa.
Shut up. These people, bro. Bill Gates had a side piece. She knew about it. She signed on the prenup. She knew exactly what she was getting involved into. This isn't a joke. This woman knew exactly what she was involved with and exactly what she was doing. And she could play like she didn't know. But she's a lying dumb bitch. She's lying to the full. She's not going to take the fall for a man, first of all. And second of all, a woman would never be portrayed publicly as somebody who was behind something vile and evil and helpful. That's why Ghislaine Maxwell just got a black eye in prison and isn't murdered. Because they got class for women. This is ridiculous. This woman and Bill Gates should be hung in public for their connection to Epstein because they killed that piece of shit in prison. Get out of here. Deeply troubled. What a fake piece of shit. Is she the next Kardashian? Is she going to get a fucking book deal worth $230 billion fucking dollars, their foundation? What are they going to give her, a book deal and a Netflix deal like the Obamas and the Royals? Is this who I get to be berated over the next 6 months? Is about Melinda Gates and how she stayed true, how she was so strong to stay with Bill when he was out with his ex-girlfriend, who she agreed to in the prenup. I'd love to know how they're going to split that $200 billion or whatever that freaking crappy, huge, massive conglomerate foundation is worth. These people...
Maybe that's shut down.
Yeah, good. Come and shut down, Bill Gates. Fucking piece of shit. You should be hung public. They're all something. They don't care about you. They're in on the fraud. They're in on all of it, dude. It's not a joke. It doesn't surprise. Deeply troubled. Johnny Depp's wife, Amber, whatever her name is, that bitch lied for years. Johnny Depp had his wedding, like, fingers almost cut off with beer bottles and all sorts of other crazy...
A couple fingers got some minor lacerations.
Yeah, and they just said, no, she would never hurt him. They're lying. Women all stick together, too. They'll all burn a bridge together and be like, no, the bridge isn't burning, and that fucker will fall into the ocean.
This is why we need Brian's Pro Guy podcast.
It's in the works.
Quite frankly, I need some entertainment, and I would love to watch his show.
This is ridiculous. I don't understand how they think they can just sit there. Oh, I'm deeply troubled. No, I never hurt Johnny Depp. He's got you on film of meeting and beating him up. And you're like, oh, quit being a bitch and a pussy. Oh, I slap you around. You got the cops here in a minute. This is ridiculous. Men and women don't have the same standards, and they're exploiting it politically and in the social environment. This is nuts. This is nuts. Deeply true. You know how many divorces are about to happen already because of COVID? And now factor in the influence of stupid rich people and being deeply troubled about pointless crap. Well, yeah, go to the cops, Melinda. Deeply troubled all them years. You didn't mind blowing him when he was worth billions of dollars. It's only now that it comes out. There's pictures of you guys 20 years ago together. Trump was there too, remember? Trump was with Epstein. They were all hanging out in the same room, same time. Weren't deeply troubled then. Only recently, when it came out, like 2 years ago, when everybody was cooped inside and we thought that a Amazon-style freaking internet service was shipping children to Russian oligarchs halfway across the globe. Hey, at least they got UFOs. They got the UFOs, you know.
Hear that? Hear that?
I told you, man. They know. They know.
The government pedophile ring coming for you.
I'm gonna pull the Alex line. I will never kill myself if anything ever. The Clinton body count, double shot to the head. Nope, he killed himself twice. This is fucking incredible. There it is. There it is. Right by the cop shop.
Reptilians are listening.
Yeah, people. No, there's no half humanoid people running around. I don't care what you tell me.
Isn't there?
The only thing we got to worry about is Musk fucking with the wrong monkey, and he just happens to be a biological freak.
Haven't we confirmed in headlines that there are half monkey, half human people floating around?
That's conspiracy, Dave. That's not real.
Is it?
This brings up a good question, okay? At what point does something have a civil right? Right? Because we've already allowed them to define what a heartbeat is and what life is. So that's a big problem with chimeras and hybrids of things, is like, when is it a person? When's it not a person? Because I'm
gonna set the bar high. I think we need to set a good, solid bar. If you're not 100% human, I don't care. You have no rights.
What if the thing can walk and talk and think and paint?
Is he human?
Dave.
Is he 100% human?
We're monkeys. We're not human. So what the fuck are you doing?
Let's be clear. We're humans.
We're only humans because we said we're humans.
We're not robots. I know that.
Robots don't create you. Don't ever say that again. Don't ever
be a robot.
Don't
ever say that again. So much shit when I'm a robot.
Yeah, fuck the Gates. That guy assholes buying up farmland and building trains all over the globe. Wants to spray chemicals in the atmosphere. They're psychopaths. This woman's only doing it to save her ass. And I also heard a nice theory from my friend. He said that they got divorced now because they don't.
Is he familiar with the matter?
Is my buddy Mike. I love him.
Well, he's now been named.
Take him out. He'll relish in it, believe me. He'd love to get raided. I'm just kidding. There's no reason to raid this guy. I just joke with him about it all the time. Anyways, yeah, I openly brag how they're going to shut us down one day. And they're just going to cut the cord on my apartment. Yeah, but he said he had a good idea that they're getting divorced now because they don't want to pay the high taxes of the Biden tax policy.
That's interesting because I saw something. I didn't even put it in the headlines, but did you see that Jeff Bezos sold a pile of stock off, Amazon stock?
Oh, that's weird.
It's almost like they think capital gains taxes are going up.
Yeah, it's weird. I thought that wasn't going to happen. Do you know 50 Cent moved to Texas?
Smart.
Do you know that Diddy lives in Florida?
Smart.
That's weird. I thought they were New York rappers and they love New York and they would, I want to support all. I saw, you're all good, right?
Yeah.
Bill Gates divorce. I'm not even going to talk about what I was going to talk about. All right, fuck it. I'm not even worrying about what I said. We said enough today. Anyways. Yeah, Chappelle and stuff was on Rogan. This isn't my Decembertainment, but we'll just go right into Decembertainment right now, I guess.
Was he on Rogan again?
Again, right?
Like it's kind of like was it just him? Was it like his official? Because last time he was on, he was sort of not on. He just kind of popped in. No,
it was like they sat down and talked.
Oh.
Well, actually, hold on. I don't know because I don't watch Rogan. Okay. It was on Instagram right before this podcast, but the way it looked, it was just Chappelle and him sitting down. Chappelle was smoking a cigarette. I watched the clip. And what Chappelle was talking about, he talked about in the clip that I saw. It's the only thing I've seen. So I don't know if I will watch this podcast. I don't know. Because this clip of Joe Rogan doesn't infuriate me, man. But it really, these people, they have the power and they've spoken without accountability. They've been able to direct and influence people and have zero accountability. Now, I'm not saying they should be held responsible, but we as the people that consume their content should hold them responsible. Because I've spoke here how we need to look at our influence as social currency, and the shit's important where you spend it. Like, it's like corruption through social means if you're not wary. But Rogan Chappelle was talking about how he wanted like a conspiracy of kindness, which is a beautiful idea. And he said, basically, I'm just going to put kindness into the world and it will come back to me because it will be infectious, and hopefully we can promote kindness in our community. Like a conspiracy, basically. And then Joe Rogan started talking. He talked about people, right? And helping people. And all this beautiful stuff that he always talks about. And all I thought about is how he always talked about paying more in taxes in California and then moving to fucking Texas! I don't know. I think he should have moved to Texas. He probably belongs in Texas. He's probably happier in Texas. Good for Joe Rogan. But it is crazy that these people can be open hypocrites, man. But for real, my December entertainment this week, I'm glad you brought up Jordan Peterson. Because I consumed a lot of Jordan Peterson this week. He was on Andrew Schultz's podcast. He was on Tim Dillon's podcast. And he also, I listened to a couple of his older podcasts and stuff. But I encourage everybody to listen to the Andrew Schultz podcast. I really do. There was some really intriguing stuff in there. At one point, I cried. It was just really good. But the thing that he said that spoke super awesome was Schultz obviously made a lot of comedy jokes. He's been, when Jordan Peterson's been on with like a guy like Theo Von too, they work well together. Jordan's real good with comedians because he understands them, right? Like he looks at them like that real analytical mind. So it's cool for him to like participate in their jokes, but at like a super, I don't want to say elevated level, right? But like not to like make the comedy sounds dumb, but he just like plays well in their realm of being funny. But Schultz asked him about influence and stuff because Jordan always talks about corruption and power and the whole getting corrupted. And he said, I'm really trying to like not let it corrupt me. He's like, because at some degree it does influence me. He's like, I'm trying to not let it happen. And I think it just spoke great to his humility. It like showed that like this man, he knows that millions of people watch him. He knows that millions of people are tuning in, not only on his own analytical level, but I'm sure he notices the book list. He has a book list up on his website. He says he watches the book list on Amazon and he sees that these books are selling at very high rates, and it's because of his website. He can like, not just his website, but he knows his power, right? He knows his social influence, but he doesn't, right? He can't measure it. We've talked, you can't measure a stream. Like you can't put a value on it. So yeah, awesome pod. That was an awesome podcast. But hearing him talk about that, everything he went through in his life, he kind of told why he fell off of the scene the last few years and stuff. I read some of his book this week. That was great. And something else I did for December entertainment today, and I wanted to talk about this with you, maybe extrude it a little bit, is I consumed our first 3 podcasts.
Oh, episode 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
So Conspiracy Cast.
Yeah, Conspiracy Cast.
What was episode 2?
We had to reshoot. So
it was episode 2 and 3, sort of, because we had to film it twice.
Yeah, but something I found that was super awesome. I looked at it different. I looked at it to learn something too, like seeing where the headlines was. It kind of like brought me a flashback. It was around the time of all the mail-in voting talk. So it was cool, right? It was cool to go and look back. But more importantly, was I realized how the podcast has just, even the couple things we've done, and how they've grown organically. Like the one podcast I was like, I saw an article, and then I read the article, we talked about it, and it kind of like morphed into conversation, how we normally do it. My point is it was the segment headlines without the segment headlines.
It was
So
headlines before headlines.
it's like cool to like. So I didn't get to a point I was gonna watch until I got to headlines, but I just, you only got so many hours in a day.
I don't know when headlines officially started.
That's what I want to look up. I want to look up like,
The first headlines.
yeah, because it was cool. It wasn't there. I was expecting, I watch every week. Not that I'm egotistical, but I am. But I figure if I can't watch what we produce, how can I expect other people to watch it? So, I try to watch it open-minded and make sure I'm saying what sounds good and I'm not just correct or wrong or whatever, but I try to be open-minded and make sure that's entertaining for other people. I expect you to watch it. I should be able to sit through it. So it was cool to go back for sure and definitely like see the growth of the podcast. We didn't have graphics or like the weekly show emblem or even the calling it the weekly show. I think like it was just, I don't know. It's cool, man.
We were relatively unnamed for a while.
Yeah, well, what happened was you just called me. He was like, I'm going to test some equipment. You want to, like, record? And we're like, yeah. And then it was called The Ryan Show because we just kind of, it was like origin. It was like comic book issue 1 origin story shit, like, very cool. We're a little ways away, but we're coming up on the December anniversary here. And our 52nd podcast will be 1 year of filming. So, like, I was kind of...
We really haven't missed any... Maybe one here or there, but we really haven't missed any weeks.
We haven't missed a single week, dude.
Not one.
If you go back and match our numbers, they're exactly the right month and space.
I got news for you. I got a vacation coming up. Ooh. We got to find a way to do podcasts from the beach.
You can podcast from the beach, bro.
Just bring your laptop.
Yeah, just podcast from the beach, man. Or I'll just meet you down on
Beachcast.
Beachcast. Mojito. Yeah, dude. So it was cool to go December tane like that and be entertained by December 1773. It was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. Yeah, good job too, man. Like just like thinking, you and I obviously we know each other a while, but like just the chemistry and everything. This is a whole for people who don't, who don't really know or try stuff like this. This isn't like it's not always necessarily going to be plug and play with somebody. So
it's pretty cool. So what did you take out of the first 3 episodes? I mean, obviously you said there's no graphics or name or logo or anything. I mean, there was nothing. But
well, I did what I really I felt like it was not that it's just like we matured. I'll say right. Like went from like
yeah. Is there super mature here at the weekly show? Is there anything you would go back to?
You mean as far as what we did?
Yeah, like is there any changes that we made that you think were worse?
No, I think generally overall the podcast is better than when we started. And I especially think because of the segment, especially not to toot my own horn, the Decembertainment really is a nice way to tie down. Like obviously I try to be pretty comical most times with the headlines and stuff, but to really talk about the things we consume that we enjoyed when everything's so serious, and especially with the way life's been the last few years, it's
I agree with that because I'm not gonna lie to you, I would hate to end the podcast with you screaming about Melinda Gates.
I would hate to end the podcast that way too. So I definitely think I definitely think our biggest improvement has been our segments that we've put in. And then, obviously, the actual art, the graphics, I like our opening. I think our opening I want to do something now that we filmed for as much as we filmed. I want to put together our own cut of that same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like maybe put 2 contradicting headlines back to back, and I don't know. Like it would take a lot of editing, but maybe we could you and I together on a separate thing, kind of hammer something out, to make it like our opening would actually be 100% ours. Then,
Oh yeah.
So, but no, I think generally overall the podcast, the quality has gone up. Obviously, we've increased some of our equipment, and I think that's all for the betterment of it. And I also think that. We have a track record. We've been consistent. That's most important, and we haven't missed one. I've missed a podcast, and
you mentioned. I think you mentioned it before we were recording, but when you were scrolling through and seeing just the one video that Ryan wasn't there, the thumbnail looks totally different because it's just whatever, this portion of the screen.
All you see is Dave's skin, because everything's black. Before he had that nice light with the second screen, you're
I got
more
the extra lights, the dual curtain action. This is a high quality setup here.
Yeah, it's definitely it's cool to see it translate, man. Like once again, I tune in every week too. I appreciate everybody that does tune in, but just to know that our dedication's there and to like still see it, and I know I've been doing this personally for a while, just real Facebook, real archaic way, not real produced and stuff, and not saying we're heavily produced, but just a couple of things that we can do to kind of make it a little bit better. I think right now we've always focused on the quality of our content, more so about the appearance of it. I think we film on relatively good cameras and mics and all that, but short of that, I think that's our only real next step. And then I've talked to you about other DSPs, but yeah, I would just say the opening, the DSP, and then just a little bit better equipment. Me get my own mic, something like that. And
I'll tell you what I would like to do eventually. I'm not saying right now, but now it's fun enough where, like, when I'm watching, for people who don't know, when this video premieres, I'm usually the person who's commenting with you during the live chat. So what I think would be cool is at some point during the future doing an actual live stream, because we record a day before, 2 days before, whatever, and then edit it and whatever. I'd like to eventually at some point just full on live stream.
I'd love to just full on live, dude. You know me. Because
then we can real time interact, read your comments.
Yeah, and I consume a couple podcasts that actually the only podcast that I know that shoots live is a Pro Guy podcast and Fresh and Fit podcast. That's what it's called. Watch on YouTube. The shit's crazy. It's like hot chicks and these dudes, and it's fucking crazy. Basically, dude, if you want a crash course in what women think, watch this podcast. Like, maybe watch 4 or 5 episodes with a lot of women, and you'll see how large groups of women think. And what I was talking about with Bill Gates' dumbass wife. Only an idiot gives up half your wealth. Only a fucking idiot. Get a prenup, boys. Don't get married.
So anyway.
Yeah, I got to do that other one. I can't be rambling about pro guy shit on my politics, guys. What was your December take this week? Because I believe you had some, did you not?
Well, we did get the new Resident Evil.
Which one?
Village, I think it's called. I think it's 8.
What's it for? What system?
PlayStation 4. I'd have a PlayStation 5, but they don't make them right now. I could have got it for the computer, I suppose, but I don't know. It's something about a console I still like more. But I'll say this. I highly doubt. Well, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how many people are going to watch this who play Resident Evil, but I will say this. For anyone who's thinking about getting it, it is easily the best one I've played.
Have you been a big fan of the series for a while?
I've played a good... I can't say I've played them since the beginning. Okay. But probably the last 4 or 5 I've played. And the last one, the most recent one, was pretty good. But I think they focused so much on adding a VR element to the game that they kind of missed out on other stuff. And don't get me wrong, the VR was kind of cool to an extent. Like VR.
This game has VR?
No, Village does not. The previous one did, and I think because they focused so much on adding a VR element, they kind of missed out on like just general plot, animation, character, setup, and all this. So the newest one, like, excelled in every way, in my opinion, because they didn't focus on doing this extra stuff. And I think the game's a lot better for it.
Like, those features are supposed to be add-ons. They're not supposed to be like primary, ways to tell a story or primary ways to engage in the world.
And I think it was important to do because the future of gaming, in my opinion, is going to be virtual reality. Virtual reality, if you've never done it, is super cool.
I have not officially done it, but I am looking forward to walking into my bedroom and it all being a TV screen, and then I live in it.
It has. Don't get me wrong. It has a ways to go. It's not all there yet, but it's really cool. it's almost more cool to play like cartoony animated games and not so much the realistic games because
Yeah, right. What point's
it's
reality?
really weird because it totally contorts like your idea of reality. It's super weird. But yeah, no, the the Resident Evil is super solid. I mean, I think everything about this game was better than the last one by a lot.
Awesome, man.
Just the general playability and the characters and the plot and just the story and everything. It was just super well done.
Did you beat it?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That's cool. The last Resident Evil I probably played was for like the PlayStation 1 when they had the 2-disc and the girl and guy and shit. And it was like when you would like walk the door and the guys are at the other end, like, and then you're like trying to pistol like the shitty turn animations we came from. This is what
it's come a long way.
Yeah, now you got like first person scope behind the fucking. I'll do a quick video game dissevertainment here too. I bought some old Wii games. I told you I was on my old GameCube kick. I've been focusing on the old Lord of the Rings games and the Zelda games. And I gotta say, I know I bragged very heavily about the Switch. Buy a fucking Switch, people. I know without the Switch, without the Wii, the Switch wouldn't be what it is. You know what I mean? But dude, the Wii was so ahead of its time, dude. It really was.
Yeah.
Like, the nunchuck, the motion remote, it was just. So like I didn't play much this week. I focused on the other stuff I told you guys about. But yeah, man, I've been really relishing in the fact that we come from a different time, man.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to ask you this. This is I guess this will be final philosophy here. With it, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Not like women will watch this, but I hope your lady had a good Mother's Day.
Not for long enough to get to this part.
Yeah, no, they canceled.
For any who just happened to tune in right now.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day.
You started at the beginning. You didn't make it here.
Yeah, no. Especially that little last bit before Decembertainment. Now that we're on final philosophy. Anyways. Yeah, happy Mother's Day, all that. But I really questioned, do you think people even value what the fuck Mother's Day means anymore? Do you think this pandemic has made people question the quality of their time anymore? Because most people, or a lot of people, or some people, experienced an excess of time during this pandemic, or a surplus, an extra, whether it be not working and unemployment and discovering old things about yourself or new things or new journeys and all that fucking beautiful poetic shit they tell us to say. Like, for real, do you think anybody like really values time the way you're supposed to? The way that Mother's Day, when it was initially founded?
I don't think people as a whole do, and I don't think the pandemic changed any of it. I think people just in general don't understand the value of time.
I mean, because we've diluted value of everything else. Our dollar is devalued, right? So like the idea of wealth is like physical wealth has been taken. You know, a lot of people think that their time is wasted at their job. So you've taken the value of time from most people for 40 hours at least a week. You sleep you know what I mean? Like, it seems like your time is just being stolen from you. So you've lost the value of time because you don't appreciate the time you have. Especially in that one, the time that you don't have, you'll just scroll the internet all day and not watch December 1773, you know? So, like, you don't value your time that you do have when you have free time because the time that isn't free time isn't valuable to you either. So we're in this conundrum of, like, trying to rationalize. In a world that we have so much luxury and surplus, we're trying to rationalize a state of living that if you want the luxuries, you have to work so hard to get. But the bare minimum doesn't seem like it's good enough anymore. Because we've lost the quality aspect of all of the aspects of our life. Time, effort, quality itself. It's like even gold bars would be tarnished, Like, that's how I feel about the modern person. Gold to you would be tarnished. One of the most valuable things in all of human history.
I will say this. I am a person who enjoys something that's quality. And this is going to sound arbitrary, but this is a story I want to tell. And I don't know necessarily if this is a story I want to end on, but it's a story I think we're going to end on. Since we moved into our house, and we've been here for probably 4 years now, we went through 4 can openers. I think we're on our 5th can opener. This sounds crazy. Every time one would break, Eve would go to the dollar store and buy another one. And then it would work, and it would get rusty and shitty, and then it would not work. And you'd... It's stupid. It's dumb. I went to Walmart, the store. I know. And I bought...
There's no Target where you live, you fucking piece of shit. Even though I could not shop at Target for some reason.
Target. You know how far I gotta go to get to a Target? I bought a KitchenAid can opener. It's a manual can opener, and it was like $17. Sounds like a lot of money for a can opener. Just it's fucking plastic and metal and whatever. It's amazing.
So that's what you got out of it is people buy cheap can openers, and that's why they don't value time.
Yeah, but you can macro that. It's just people in general don't care.
Yeah, what a fucking rationalization.
People in general do not care about quality. They just don't.
No, hold on. Here's another misogynistic thing. Women don't care about quality. Men do. That's why men's... yeah, dude, get the fuck out of here.
I don't know about that.
The average thing of a man is made better than the average thing a woman buys. How often... I don't know if your lady wears purse, but I bet you the average woman buys twice the amount of purses that a man buys wallets.
But is that... I don't think that's a quality versus quantity argument.
I do.
I think it's a want versus necessity argument. I think it's a different debate.
Hold on. Okay, I got another one for you. Statistically, this is like one of those Uber facts. Women make, I don't know the exact numbers, but they're far different. It's like they make $2.5 trillion a year globally, and they spend like $6.5 trillion. Where the fuck are they getting all this other money from? It's from men. It's from men. Is it? Well, it's if women only make $2.5 trillion and spend.
Well, hold on. Are they spending physical currency or non-physical currency?
Oh, that's a good question. 80% of the credit card debt in America is owned by women. Tell me that women. That's why.
This almost sounds like.
This is why Eve goes to the dollar store, because in her mind she's just like, oh, I just need a can opener. But for you, it's a vendetta. It's like, no, I want one can opener. I don't want 11. I don't want to go because for whatever. I'm serious though. Think of it.
Okay, but to your point, we probably could have. We could have went 15 years on her can openers for the price of mine.
No, you could. Fine.
They're about a buck a piece.
Right. Fine. You're proving my point. You have already planned to provide for the future. Women provide for the present. Eve focused on satisfying now. You focus on the legacy of opening cans.
The legacy of opening cans. The can opening legacy.
And that was a can from December 1773. I'll see everybody next week. Tune in at 7. Like, comment, subscribe.
Over. Done.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Dave. I'll be back for more misogyny.